Hello, everyone. I am Nick, and welcome to my new channel here, Backseat to Right Seat. It's my first video. In this video, I'm just going to talk about kind of introduction to who I am, why I made this video, and kind of my journey as well. All right, so we'll start with why I'm making this video. So I am a previous military backseater, sometimes called a CSO or a Navigator or an NFO, depending on what service you're in. But basically, I was a navigator for the military, a non-pilot aviator, but still a rated officer with the military. And I did that for 12 years, got out of the military, and then made a transition into commercial civilian aviation. That was a kind of a pretty big journey to do, and there was a lot of things I learned along the way. Probably the biggest thing that's important to emphasize out of this video is that you can do this. I know a lot of people, if they're a military backseater, they kind of get discouraged based on how the FAA looks at backseaters' flight time, and that's understandable. But it doesn't mean it can't be done. I have at least three other buddies that were navigators or WSOs like me, and have all become professional pilots outside of the military. There's the other route as well, where you can transition and become a pilot inside the military. But that's not the way I went. But that's definitely a possibility if that's something you're interested in. All right, a little bit of background about myself. Like I said, my name's Nick. How I got in the military, I studied engineering in college with mostly the intent of becoming an engineer for the U.S. Air Force. But towards the end of my college career, when I was getting ready to go into the Air Force, I kind of realized I didn't actually want a desk job per se. So I kind of last minute decided to do something different. So I applied for all the flying jobs: pilot, CSO, NFO, or pilot, CSO, and ABM in the Air Force. And I was able to get the CSO spot. So I wasn't able to get the pilot slot, but it was still flying, so I was still excited about that. So I commissioned into the Air Force, went down to Pensacola, Florida, where all the Air Force backseaters train, and ended up getting a Strike Eagle spot out of Pensacola. So F-15E Strike Eagle, and ended up flying the Strike Eagle for about 4 years altogether at Seymour Johnson and then Mountain Home Air Force Base. Deployed in the Strike Eagle, had a great time, loved every minute of it, and loved the people very much. Once I kind of got towards the end of my Strike Eagle time, that's when I decided I wanted to try something different, and I took a job, kind of a unique opportunity where I got to fly with the Navy for quite a while. So I took a job flying in the Growler program with the U.S. Navy out of Whidbey Island, and ended up doing that for about 6 years or so. Just like the Strike Eagle, I loved that. I honestly didn't want to stop flying that, but I got kind of to a point in my career where I needed to decide whether I was going to stay in for the full 20 or it was time for me to get out. At about 12 years or so, that's when I ended up getting out of the military. Now, as many of you probably know, if you're watching this video, as a military backseater, you're kind of limited on what you do in the civilian world, unless you do something to change that. So you can become a contractor, sim operator, planner, mission planner, all kinds of cool things that you can do. And I consider doing all those things, and they're not bad jobs. But the more I thought about it, I had another 30 years basically to work in my life. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, I wanted to become a pilot, and I wanted to become a civilian pilot. Once I made that decision, I wanted to become a pilot. And basically, it took me about 3 to 4 years to go from zero to where I needed to be, into where I am right now, which is flying for a major Part 91K operator as a professional pilot, as a first officer. In that journey there, it's going to be in the next video. It's going to be how I got all my ratings, how I got my flight time, and then how did I use my military experience to benefit me, specifically to help me get hired, basically. So, and as you probably know, your backseater flight time counts for exactly this much in the eyes of the FAA, but it doesn't count for exactly this much as far as getting hired in employers. So, although it takes a little more work to get all your ratings and get all your flight time. Once you get there, you can take that, add it to your flying resume, and that's going to put you miles above everyone else that just kind of comes in with just the basic, maybe 1,500 hour CFI or something like that. Especially if you've been flying something like a jet aircraft for the military, because you have a lot more experience. You understand the pace of flying jets. You probably have experienced much more with international flying. You've probably experienced emergencies. You probably have a solid understanding of safety. All those things, regulations, all that stuff, you understand a lot more than just the normal person. And the key is emphasizing all that experience you have, all that aviation knowledge you have on your resume, on your cover letter, and in your interview. And if you do that well, and I'll teach you some tricks on how to do that, you're probably going to get hired over someone else that doesn't have all that experience. And now that it's a little bit more difficult to get those ideal or that top-notch aviation jobs, it's a little more selective. Having the ability to just being able to explain all that stuff is going to take you pretty far. All right, so that pretty much summarizes the purpose of this channel, kind of my background, some of the information I'm trying to pass along. Some things I will talk about in the next few videos is how I got all my ratings, ways to use your GI Bill, how to get your time building, ways to save money and find CFIs that will save you some money. Again, I'll talk about how to emphasize your experience in your application process and your interview process, and kind of some other cool opportunities that you might be able to use as you get out of the military. What I got to do is I got to do a flying skill bridge during my last 4 months. And that was a great opportunity for a great company. And they're out there. If you search around and find them, those are great opportunities. So I'll talk about some of those as well. Lastly, if you have any stuff you would like to see in the next video, just put it in the comments, I guess, below. I'm kind of new to this whole YouTube thing. But I figured this is the best way to pass a lot of information out there. Thanks for watching.